ready for Betting Weekly Tennis Live. It's Mitch Michaels. It's
Yeah.
Dustin Fox. It's all part of the Bet Rivers Network on the socials at Because We Win. Make sure you follow us on our X account, Instagram, and YouTube. Getting those YouTube subscribers up well into the 5 digits now. It's a great time for tennis fans because we're in the lead up to the U.S. Open, North American hardcore swing. And Dustin Fox, welcome to the show. We're north of the border now, so we're going to Canada for this outstanding 1,000.
Heck yeah, let's go north of the border. This is it's a fun week, man. It was nice to see the DC Open. It was nice to watch a lot of good tennis last week. It was a heck of a match last night, and we get to move on to a little Toronto, little Canadian tennis on the hard court this summer.
Man, we'll get to the live action first. I wanted to go to City and talk about what happened in DC, but we've got a lot of live action going on right now, which we know is the name of the game. Alexander Block's taking on Svercina. He is it's 2-1 early in that one, so Block's the favorite in that one, minus 286. Minaur and Dan Martin, another young player coming up in Dan Martin. He is trying to get to 3-2. Minaur, a huge favorite there. Matteo Bellucci, Hugo Gaston, a little more established names in that one. Bellucci up a break early. You've got Capriva just trying to stay alive against Boo, who is a game away in that one. On the women's side, Blankova Dolhai just starting out there with Blankova up the early break, still an underdog. Tatiana Maria Laura Siegemund 5-all in the second set with Siegemund up a set, as well as Stardustova taking on Wang. So we've got 8 matches total going on live. It's the start of, we had some main draw matches yesterday, which we can get to as well, Dustin, but they're playing across 2 different cities, which is important to note. So you'll have Montreal for the women and then Toronto for the men this year.
No, it's a good point. I did say Toronto to start, but I did also want to mention that the women are playing in Montreal. So it's a good point by you. And yeah, I mean, this is the great thing about, when you get to play in tennis in, North America here, we get some live, like a ton of live matches during the day, which is awesome for us and for our show purposes, because we're on at 1 o'clock Eastern here in the States. And we've got a ton, as you said, matches going on right now. And certainly a lot of really good ones coming up the rest of this afternoon into the evening as well.
And there you see, I mean, we already see the comment in the show. We've got a question on some matches. That's the finals yesterday of DC. Kalinskaya losing to Leylah Fernandez. They're both in action. Yeah, they're both in action tomorrow. So
crazy.
We'll get to that in a second too. Yeah, I think what we saw in DC was also championship experience, because 2 players, 2 different types of matches, but Kalinskaya and Fokina hadn't won titles on the tour level, still haven't won titles on the tour level. Kalinskaya didn't play her best match. Fernandez was a giant killer all week. Coming back to beat Raducanu after beating Pegula was impressive. So she just keeps it going. Leylah going into Canada, Dustin, with a little bit of momentum. So I love to see that.
Yeah, Leylah played really well. I thought that her serves were outstanding. The backhand was cooking, and we know when that is on, she's going to be on. She'll play with confidence. And look, I believe this was her 4th 500 she's won. Or no, was this her first 500? Excuse me, her 4th title, her first 500, I believe. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I think so. She won Monterey. Yeah, I think this was her biggest
title. Yeah, so this was a big one for her. And man, I am like really interested to see how she goes into these next couple of tournaments here before the U.S. Open, because on hard court she looked great. I mean, I was watching the match with my wife, and she was like, "This girl's just kicking this girl's ass." I'm like, "Yeah, she is."
I'm high on Maya Joint. That's the matchup. Right? There's no West for the weary. It's a quick turnaround, but I don't. Going with both underdogs, I think Lee is the one I would favor more, not just because Kalinskaya lost, but it was a tough emotional letdown to get so close to your first title, and then and having played well, beat Raducanu in the semis. I think Ann Lee is a very tough competitor, and I think that would be one I would look at more. But if you want to look at Bet Rivers, and we're talking just outright, obviously. If you want to look at Bet Rivers for the best odds, obviously, Maya Joint plus 3.5 games, maybe it would be where if you want to favor an underdog. I don't know that I would pick her to win. I think Fernandez plays some physical tiebreak heavy matchups at times. So maybe plus 3.5 minus 103 on the Maya Joint play would be where I would look. But if you're talking outright upset, I think it's Lee over Kalinskaya versus joint over Fernandez.
You love you some Maya joint, and I do too. Especially after I lost a wager that I had against her, earlier in the grass court season. But nonetheless, yeah, she's fun to watch. You don't see too many players out there, wearing shades, playing tennis. So I love her. I love her look, and she got some game to back it up. There's no doubt.
Boy, Fernandez, that was a big one. And then obviously de Minaur beating Fokina. Well, de Minaur is just a dog, right? Like he just fights out there, and you know that you're not going to get anything handed to you.
Yeah.
And sometimes, fortune rewards the brave, as they say. So you get the breaks and you get an overhead lob that just catches the line. Fokina was ready to drop his racket and celebrate his first title, but again, it was not meant to be.
I love the sportsmanship afterwards. Mm-hmm. I thought that, they're buddies. In fact, they flew together after the tournament on a private jet. So, I mean, they're tight. We know that. But, I mean, you think back to, Davidovich Fokina has been so close to winning one of these things. The Delray Beach one that just happened, against Kecmanovic.
Same thing, 5-2.
5-2. And he had 3 championship points during that service game. So it's happened to him before. He's going to get one at some point.
Hope so.
He played tight. I mean, there's no doubt that
there was some luck. Obviously, there were some points that I don't even think he played bad. It was a little tight. That's how it works, right? He beat this tournament.
Well, he was tight when he was serving 5-3 and his 30 love. He got tight. His forehand was gone.
Yeah, he beats Fritz and Shelton back to back. Insanely impressive. Crazy. And that's how it works, right? Down 30 love. Fritz is serving for his match against Fokina. You play a little more free when you're down 30 love versus up 30 love.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, clearly the best player in the top 20 without a title, having his best year, all those things, but just got to get that trophy. And it, as an athlete, it just adds up, right? It's building. Like he just needs to get a title to get this monkey off his back.
I hope he does. I like watching him play. I'm a fan. I think he's all class the way he handles his business. I think he's a heck of a player, and it's gonna happen for him at some point. I certainly hope. Because if he doesn't, then it's going to be a damn shame.
That is true. And maybe until it does, you bet live against him until he actually wins it. Because de Minaur would have been a pretty solid play if you bet him live down a break, down some of those match points. So something to consider there. The live window right now, we'll see. It's a little lopsided. I would say Dolehide Blinkova is one I'm looking at. It's a break for Blinkova, but she's up, but Dolehide's still the favorite. So she had a solid performance in DC. Maybe that's one we can target and look at, Dustin. But I don't know, anything else in the live right now stand out?
From a live standpoint, nothing jumping out at me as of right this moment. A couple later that I definitely want to talk about, including the one the Borna Coric match with Gigante. Is it Gigante? How you say it? Matteo Gigante?
Yeah, Gigante, I believe, who beats Tsitsipas at what was that, Roland Garros? Or was that? Yeah, it was Roland Garros.
I like that one. We'll talk about
that's a good one. I think.
Sorry, good.
We're about to get Altmaier Wananuki, who had the big win over Tiafoe at Indian Wells. Altmaier, I think a little too much for him. I think 143 is a pretty fair price to get on Altmaier. I would lay the juice on that one. I think that's a solid number for him. We're going to get Fonseca here in about 30 minutes against Schoolcat. So João Fonseca, welcome to the Great White North. So that's one to look at. And on the women's side, matches coming up shortly. You're going to see Raducanu again very, very soon against Ruse. And Raducanu, Dustin, had a pretty good run. I know it didn't end well against Kalinskaya, but she's right back to the court. She beat Osaka. She beat Kostuk. I think it's good for her to be playing matches and beat Sakari. So I think Raducanu is a player to like, not just in this match or this tournament, but this whole U.S. Open series.
Well, here's the thing with Raducanu. I think she's got her confidence back. She's playing really well despite the loss in DC. I think her serve right now is on, and that's such an important aspect of the women's game, the women's side of things. So I think that's huge for her. She's striking the ball well. with the ground strokes. I mean, she's just playing like a top player should play. You know what I mean? And she was a top player, and then she kind of fell off, and that's how things go. We get it, but I see her continuing to get back near the top 10 here rather quickly.
I agree. I mean, especially the way Wimbledon went, where she lost that match to Sabalenka, where she was the better player for most of it, to just hit the ground running, got some stability, working with Mark Pecci as coach commentator, who's a brilliant guy too. So I think the stability's helped her. And yeah, even the Sakari match too. I know Kalinskaya was just a bad day at the office, but the Sakari match was very smart, right? She kind of let Sakari make some of those mistakes that maybe Emma had made in the past, and down a break in the second, didn't throw that set away and really just dug in and won it. So, yeah, I'm with you there.
You could have caught her prior to this. I'm sure there's futures you can grab now to win this tournament, but Raducanu was like plus 3,200 or something before I saw like yesterday. So you never know. I mean,
you never know. You never know, man. What a big line in the Osaka match, huh? She fires Mortagu minus 3,335. Probably a one-way traffic match against Arsenal, but that's a big number, Dustin. That is a big number.
Yeah, I'll stay away from that.
I think Venus was the biggest upset win outright this year. Don't quote me on that, but talking to Nigel on Wednesday's show.
Just spend like 2 seconds on that because last week I feel bad now because I like sort of judged her getting the wild card based off of an Instagram video I saw of her warming up basically in her practice. Where she just looked kind of like old and like laboring as she was doing some ground strokes. She beat Peyton Stearns' butt.
She did.
She wasn't even close.
She did. Nerves was a big factor of that too. Not having support in America as an American probably didn't help Stearns either. But tactically, say what you want about Venus and Stearns even, but Venus played a smart match for a 45-year-old that had some compromised movement, it's fair to say. I think she was playing first strike tennis. The serve's still pretty good. I mean, without her sister, it'd probably be recognized as the greatest serve in women's tennis. So, she played a smart match, and I think it's also was pretty safe to expect her not to have a lot left in the tank for the second match, given doubles she played too. But yeah, love to see it. Love to see it. Women's match I wanted to just quickly mention too, if we're looking at matches later today that sparked my interest. Ashlyn Krueger taking on Bouzas Maneiro. Krueger's minus 152. That's the tall serving, another good serving American. Bouzas Maneiro has had a lot of tour success recently, plus 117. I'm maybe looking at how this match progresses, but you'd like Krueger in this matchup, but it's not going to be easy would be my takeaway. This could be an overplay for me, actually.
Okay. I have respect, by the way, your plays on totals because you have been pretty much spot on with your calls lately.
Well, it's been a little lucky. I'll say this. Bouzas Maneiro played Coric yesterday and won and that match is actually tomorrow, I should say. I just wanted to highlight that because that match was a long 3-set match. She's played a lot of heavy matchups. And I like Ashlyn Krueger, another American I can get behind, but maybe not fully polished yet. So that's why I was looking over for someone that serves so well. So, but yeah, I guess looking at the live window, we got some All-American matchups. We've got some big names coming up down the pipe. That Gigante Coric match, we do have a graphic for, and it's Borna Coric, who won Cincinnati a few years ago, taking on Matteo Gigante, who burst onto the scene, as we mentioned, Roland Garros, plus 110 underdog. The game spread's razor thin. There you see some other bets, total sets, over, under, all that good stuff. What's your read on this one, Dustin? Coric is the proven player who's been going back to the Challenger Tour to get confidence, but Gigante has showed some game in his time at the pro level. I
mean, I kind of like the slight underdog here at plus 110. Rough. I mean, I think he opened Coric opened it at like minus 150 or minus 160, something along those lines. Where are you? Which side are you on first? I don't know because I don't want to be going crazy here against you.
In this situation, I usually would say I'm on the side of the proven veteran. I was looking at recent results and I was looking at Gigante trying to figure it out. It just hasn't happened for him recently. Like it just has not happened for him since that. The Busan wins the title. Gigante beats Tsitsipas, loses the Shelton and Straits, and then since then hasn't really had his blow-up moment. So I would cautiously Coric and just money line, nothing exotic outside of straight sets or spread. But I'm on the Coric side, given that, we always want to see how these players respond after the life-changing win, and it just hasn't quite happened yet.
I mean, the one thing I would say is that Coric hasn't played basically in like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he lost the qualies at Roland Garros.
Yeah, and hasn't played.
And this hasn't played. And then Gigante has won like 10 matches in the last couple of months. You know what I mean? So there's got to be some confidence there. Coric obviously is the veteran. So, when it comes to experience, he's got all those things. But I don't know. I'd probably just take a couple bones on the dog here.
Okay. No, it's going to be, the form is a thing. And I'd say, too, this isn't a strong play one way or the other. But what Coric is like, I think having the skill level, having beaten, I think he has wins over just about, all members of the Big Three. I don't think he's beaten Novak, but he definitely had a win over Nadal, and he had, I think, beat Federer, too. So
you always wonder, though, don't you, Mitch, when these guys who are veteran tennis players have to end up going back to the challenger circuit to kind of rebuild the confidence or what have you.
Yeah.
And it worked for Bublik, and bravo, my friend, bravo.
Another clay title.
Another title,
Yeah.
Second title this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it worked for Andre Agassi way back in the day. Famously went back to challengers too. And Coric is still in his 20s. Hard to believe. Still in his 20s. So
35.
The veteran at 28, soon to be 29. As we peek around here, Bet Rivers in Betting Weekly Studios presenting the Betting Weekly Tennis Live show. Mitch Michaels, Dustin Fox. We've got the Canadian Open, Montreal for the women, Toronto for the men. Tons of great bets to make on Bet Rivers, and there's just a lot happening in the live window, as we mentioned. I got my eyes on the Blinkova Dolhide matches. That's 3-2 Blinkova up. Dolhide's still the favorite. And then Bellucci Gaston. I actually think Matteo Bellucci, as he races out to a break lead, he's the one that I've been watching. He beat Medvedev earlier this year. I like his game. I like the flair he plays with. Maybe he can be someone, Dustin, that elevates and goes on a little run here.
I do like his game. I think he's like a little bit of a kind of a trickier player. You know what I mean? Like he's I don't know. He kind of has a little bit of like Moutet in him. You know what I mean?
Oh gosh, yeah.
And that's another great story too, by the way. But no, I like his game. I loved watching him on the clay. The grass was kind of fun to watch him on too. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, third round at Wimbledon, was able to beat Yuri Lehechka and keep it going. So I'm curious, again, there's a lot of opportunity with some top players out. So maybe there is a chance for him to make a run and make something happen. Other men's matches I was looking at too. And it's fun. It's funny to think, right? Because like we got Zverev tomorrow. He plays Alex Walton. Adam Walton. He's a number one seed again. But what do we expect? And what's happened this year when Zverev is the number one seed has been not good things. So how does he respond to an opportunity? I'm curious.
I'm about done with him until he wins the title, because we're talking about a slam, because he is just, you got to fade him.
Just fade
until
working with the Nadals though, working with Uncle Tony and Rafa, gonna help maybe. I don't know.
I hope it helps. I love the player. I think that he has like the perfect tennis body. His game is great. I love it. His backhand is like just poetry. I'm a big two-handed backhand guy, so like I love his backhand.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the guy when he gets in those big spots and in the big matches, because he just cannot, for whatever reason, capitalize, can't close.
So my favorite match tomorrow, actually, there's two matches tomorrow early that on the men's side, I want to touch on before I forget. Favorite match tomorrow is Denis Shapovalov taking on Tien. Last week, I famously, because it's probably not going to happen much, but I famously called the Tien money line play over Rublev. I don't know that I go that bold here. It was funny. I was looking at some of the pricing and what we can get. I think Shapovalov is viewed by many in the tennis world as a favorite in his section of the draw. That section is really wide open. But I think Lerner is a tough player. I just don't know that he has the matchup advantages here. But I think it's worth a play at plus 155 because I think Lerner has the ability, not so much as Rublev, obviously, Dustin, but I think he can get Shapo to overhit and stay in some of these long rallies and get Shapo to go for too much. So I think there's still value on Lerner at plus 155.
I'm all about that as well. I like Lerner's team probably a little bit better on hard court anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Chapo's a Canadian, and you're right, having the crowd.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
It's a big deal. It really is a big deal.
However, yeah.
I mean, Laurentine's a guy he's gonna grind you out.
So yeah, he will, and he has. He's done it to a couple Russian players this year. But we talk about Shapovalov, right? And we talk about the Canadian Open, and everyone remembers like Nadal the year that he was 17. But like looking at his history, and I want to actually pull this up. Has he lit by and large the Canadian Open up, or has it been kind of mixed results as I pull the stats up feverishly? Because I feel like it's not just a guarantee that he always plays well here.
I'm curious his like all-time, and I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there it is, right? Semifinal, and then hadn't made it past the third round since then. So hasn't made it past the second round since, and there were 2 times he didn't play, but hasn't made it past the second round since 2018. So I know we're talking an earlier on matchup here, but let's not guarantee that he's going to. And I like Shapo, and I'm glad he's back in the top 30, and I love watching him play, but this is a brutal first-round matchup given what could have happened in this draw.
I mean, he's had a pretty solid year. 3 top 10 wins, right, so far?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So those are great wins.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Well, it's the other one too. I mean, I spoiled it, but Moutet, Brooksby. I can't wait for that one.
I remember when we had our very first podcast, you and I. This was when I was a guest on your podcast last year in the summertime, and I told you one of my favorite players was Moutet, and he done jack squat to that point. And I'm like, I just love to watch the guy play, and now to see him actually beating top players, and the way he does it, so unconventional. Yeah, I love the guy.
I think Brooksby's an interesting challenge. I don't know what to expect. I wouldn't exactly give. I mean, unless you want to say over, because there could be lead changes and situations here. But I think it's an unconventional style versus an unconventional guy. That'd be the way I'd pipe this matchup. So I would expect a lot there. I'd worry too, if you're looking for underdogs, we always like to say, where's value? Brace yourself for a situation where Mapeshi Perricard serves Holger off the court. We haven't seen Holger. He had the back issue. There's been some up and downs with him. I think 190 for a guy with his serve against a Holger that you don't know what to expect is worth a small sliver at least.
It is. It is. By the way, my play would be in the Brooksby thing. I'd probably play over. I think that could be a 3-setter.
What do we like for the women? Is there women's matchups tonight or tomorrow we're looking at? I'm just gonna look at the board.
I do want to get back to my boy Garon for a second at some point here, because I do like that match later on. But on the women's side of things, later on today, we mentioned you talked about Osaka. We talked about Raducanu.
Bouchard's last match ever, or last tournament ever. She's plus 230 against Arango, and I'm not. Maybe a set, get the emotional set. I mean, her to win a set would be minus 107. I kind of like that.
31 years old, man.
Yeah. Get that emotional lift, grab a crowd.
Be emotional. You know, my boy Vasek Pospisil also going out with a little retirement match as well.
Took a set.
So, yeah, I mean, it's I hope she wins the set.
Yeah. How Arango handles the moment is probably what you're betting on, right? Like, are you betting on her opponent to be able to handle what that crowd's going to be like? Montreal also, it's shaped up nicely for Jeannie. She's from Montreal. So if this was in Toronto, wouldn't be quite the same reaction she's going to get tonight. So that's a big part of it.
These two have never played, by the way, so it's going to be interesting.
And I don't think Arango's been in a situation like this, playing someone in their last event, trying to retire someone.
No, I mean, the crowd's going to be really behind. I mean, I remember watching recently, it was Diego.
Yeah.
Was playing, in his home, his last match, essentially his last tournament in his home country, and it was insane. I mean, when you can get the support of an entire stadium behind you, and you're playing on the biggest court that the tournament has, like it's got to be hard. You feel like the world's against you, even though no one's against you, but I mean they're definitely cheering for this player who's representing their country to win or to at least win a set, to do well, basically. Why Venus had everybody watching her match, and Riley Opelka had 2 people in the stands on center court.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it was. So, I think the emotions can creep into it. I certainly can. It was brutal to see Andreescu also roll her ankle on what was match point. And I don't know. She's got Andreeva next. Reports don't look good either way. I mean, it's just not what you want to have happen, because that ankle, you sprain an ankle, it's about what happens in the hours that follow, and it's probably not going to be good. We also have, and tomorrow we have an All-American women's matchup too. Katie McNally, who won another challenger event, takes on Alicia Parks. She's minus 265, Dustin. So any chance Parks could make that interesting and maybe pull an upset?
I think it's certainly possible. She has she's kind of been up and down, obviously. I don't know a ton about her. I've definitely watched her a little bit, recently. I'd probably lean McNally in this one.
I think so too. That's just a high number. They're really building it in. From what I gather about Parks, is she is a big hitter, and maybe if she redlines, she's just prone to errors though, as is the case. But yeah, McNally seems like she's getting there. She was famously the only person to take a set off Iga at Wimbledon, kept it going, getting her confidence back, getting her health back. So this is somebody I'm looking at as well. Raducanu and Ruse just started 2 points in. Is there a play on this matchup? And I know we mentioned it, but do you are you feeling this could be a boat race? Do you like a straight sets play even, Dustin? Maybe there's
I like a straight sets player.
Okay. So which if we go straight,
probably brings it down significantly.
Yeah, let's take a look and see if we can find something out to dish out. Because I was looking at it, total sets 2 and under. If you go under 2.5. Yeah, the set betting of that 2-0 minus 136. Minus 136. So I think that might be worth it. Raducanu's feeling it. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one for sure. Other matchups to look at as we mosey on.
What about Rybakina tomorrow? Haley Baptiste.
That's an interesting one.
And it's a big number. It's like minus 600.
Yeah, that's well, it's down to minus 530, plus 375 for Baptiste. 5.5 game spread. Honestly, that's
a big number too.
Baptiste plus 5.5 is minus 132. A lot of juice on that one, but I think with how Rybakina serves, 6-4, 6-4, right? Like, would that shock you?
Or but even then, even if it's a 6-3, 6-4, you still win.
Let me look at Haley Baptiste, because there's been an adjustment. First sets of hers were flying over earlier in the year. Since then, she beats Whitney Oswego yesterday. That was a 7-5 first set. In her match against Cannon, it was 6-3. So maybe you find something in that first set over, because that's kind of what we were looking at, a little bit ago. And I think that might be. See what you can get on that one. Tie breaks over. Yeah, get a tie break is plus 280. Want to throw a little on that?
You know what? Why not? Rybakina just played 3 breakers in a row against Fernandez.
Yeah. So that'd be 1, and over 9.5 games in that first set is plus 125. So maybe you look there, because I think Baptiste, tough draw to get Kenin round 1 in her home tournament. I think she wants to lock in this match, and Rybakina may be feeling the effects of letting that Fernandez victory get away from her.
And up a set and a break. That's going to be a Kenin match. There was a breaker.
Yeah.
So
I'm just thinking.
We're talking about the last match both these women have played. Rybakina played 3 breakers and 1. You get 4 breakers.
Yeah.
In the last.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I think the breaker might be a good little bet here.
I know. We'll see what time of day that is too. The conditions play a factor this time of year as well. how players are
10
going to
a.m.
show up. Yeah, it's going to be
Well,
not
actually,
as
no,
toasty.
I'm sorry, they haven't put out the times. They all say 10 a.m.
Can there be, if we're looking at upsets and potential, I don't know. The other one I was saying was because she's playing better but has lost matches before. Do we think there's a chance that Maria Sakkari can fall to Carson Branstein, local Canadian? We know the story, had to support herself with Uber Eats driving and other ways, but gets, the breakthrough at Wimbledon, wins a main draw, gets to the main draw, plays Sabalenka. Sakkari minus 315. Do we think Sakkari's back on track and handles the upset, or another crowd situation for the local Canadian?
Hard to say. She kind of pulled it together in that second set against Sabalenka, and loses 7-5. But I don't know. I mean, I wonder how much the home crowd really matters. Sakkari's playing better. I mean, outside of that, her last match against Raducanu, I mean, she won against Bolzer and Emma Navarro. Like, those are two big ass wins. I mean, good wins.
They are. They certainly are. Looking at some other matchups too, before I forget. Haddad Maia plays Lamens. Lamens is plus 148. Haddad Maia just hasn't been informed, so I think if you like anything in that play, take the underdog, and maybe not your biggest bet, but Haddad Maia has been losing to quite a bit this year, unfortunately for her. That's one to look at. And then honestly, on the women's side, wrapping up there, Dustin, Tomljanovic, Svetoslova, who in the past had been a really tricky player, has been injured, hasn't played a lot. I think the strategy would be is if you like Tomljanovic, go straight sets. I just don't. I see this going in two different ways. Either it's the grind fest that Svetoslova wins, or Tomljanovic handles it. I think you got to have a strategy based on what you believe. Total cop out, obviously, but that's where I would attack it. So that's a close line that I think, you can look at one way or the other.
That is a tight one. I was looking at the Lys and Jeanjean matchup later today here in about an hour as well.
That could be one worth considering. Lys is what, minus 160 favorite or so?
It's 165 plus like 130-ish for Jeanjean. I think that's certainly something to keep an eye on. I mean, I actually think that Jeanjean has a chance here as a slight dog. Been serving pretty good. She's been winning almost 75% of her service games on hard courts this year. So, let's maybe give that a little peek.
Oh, I like it. I think it's good. You wanted to mention on the men's side, Marcos Giron, Maneiro.
Yes, I think that's a straight setter.
Rocking the Vuori. I should have known with the hat on. I should have known. Maneiro, right? Yeah, Maneiro doesn't probably just figure it out about an hour ago.
This year.
No, when's that match? What time is that match?
I think 2:30.
2:30. So you think he just found out now who he's playing? Probably like in the last 10 minutes, because that's Manarino's famous for never knowing who he plays. He just doesn't want to know. So he probably just figured that out. He's also got. How do
you keep it?
He doesn't want to.
Just nobody tells him, or they just he just doesn't look at the draw.
It's not like never. It's like
he tries
most
to
players.
The information.
Most players don't know until they win the match, and then they see, okay, then they want to know who they're playing immediately after, which is a tennis player thing. I think his is more of like later, like day of even. So, they just try to keep it. But, he's no swing tension guy. He strings his racket crazy loose. We all know this, but yeah, I think Giron's playing well, and I think he's done decently well in the North American hardcourt swing in the past. And yeah, straight sets win. I like it. You're betting on who these guys are now, not what they've been, right? Like that's another lesson.
This is not the Maneiro of 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
That might be why I like Tomljanovic today. It's not this Svetoslova of 4 years ago. I'm like talking myself into it for Iowa. Other matches.
You mentioned Fonseca. Do you have a take on this match today on School Cake?
He's juiced up pretty high because of the buzz that I understand why that is. So I don't see value in Fonseca. I say that because even straight sets, he's at an age where he could dump a set win the third 6-1 and you don't win your straight sets bet. So I don't have one now. I'll monitor, see how he looks, but yeah, this is the hype train, right? And I get it. There's a lot of reason to be on the hype train, but we're going to see prices that I just don't think are value.
Love it.
So that's my quick thoughts on there. But looking at the board for the rest of the day and into tomorrow, I think we talked about what we need to. Holger, obviously, Mickelson, Poprin's a defending champ. Haven't mentioned his name. Alexei Poprin, defending champ.
Poprin is a dude who can just show up and beat anybody.
Yeah,
I mean, he really can. I just have a hard time betting on him because he's kind of frustrating to watch. I've lost a couple times with him, and that's with tennis betting for me. Is like if I lose with you like 2 or 3 in a row, then I'm just like kind of scorned for like the rest of your career. You know, I'm not like I'm rooting against the guy. I just
no, you're scorned. I get it. I get it. I totally get that. You know, and I guess I'd ask you, you know, Ruse is battling. We'll see with Raducanu if Ruse makes
that. At a break point. She saved it though. Raducanu saved it.
If I was going to throw out to you tomorrow, they're both priced somewhat similarly. If I was going to say money line parlay of Greek Sport and Casper Ruud, who would you feel stronger about? Who do you have your doubts about? Or talk to me about those matchups. Greek Sport Echeverry, Casper Ruud's taking on Roman Safilin.
Greek Sport's a guy I love.
I know.
He's one of those guys like I just love. He's such a grinder that I don't know. I mean, what was the match he just had recently where he who was he? He was playing somebody who was way less ranked than him and saved how many like match points? I forget exactly. I'll have to look it up now. It's killing me because I was in Boston. This is like 2 weeks ago. This is when I was sick. I had COVID and I was like laying on the couch and I was just watching this match and I was just like really kind of into it. Didn't even have a bet on it. I was just like watching because I was bored and I was laying there sick and felt
it was Pellegrino.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pellegrino totally. I mean, I guess Greek Sport sort of took it, but I mean, it was a fun match that he definitely probably shouldn't have won.
He battled. Actually, that's the thing. Casper, there's more doubt. Safilin can heat check. He's got that in him. So, and we don't know what Casper's going to look like in his first match. So I would say there's more doubt.
To your point, that money line parlay, I like it.
I like it, but the more you convince me, Greek Sport, Echeverry, more on clay, not quite the same on hard court. Greek Sport, find a way to get into your bets somow tomorrow. Maybe it's that money line parlay. Maybe it's another way, but I think
find something else and
a daily double, a daily double. You know, I would look at that too. But you know, Casper, I think could be a contender here. But we got to see what he looks like coming back from some time off and trying to get his ranking up. Coaching changes too. Yeah, what's Tsitsipas going to look like with new coach Goran? You know, who could have seen that coming?
Is he still using the painted racket?
I think so. Yeah, he's struggling. Poor guy. He's had a rough go recently. Hopefully he can get back on track.
We'll see what happens. I mean, he dropped Badosa, right? So, you know, he's got a little.
Somebody dropped somebody. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have official reporting on that, but somebody dropped somebody. All right. Well, this was fun. Always is Betting Weekly Tennis Live. And also a reminder before we bid adieu that if you haven't yet, sign up for the newsletter, bettingweeklystudios.com. It drops on Mondays, the BW Insider on Fridays. You got soccer, you got tennis, you got, you know, basketball, baseball. It's just great. And you got expert opinions and analysis from our expert handicappers too. So you want to get in on that to get all the info before you make your bets. But Dustin, this was a blast. And as we look at the live window and look at what we want, any other parting thoughts before we sign off?
Just watching this point here to see if Raducanu holds this first game, and she does.
Long one, man.
Saves a couple of break points.
A long one there. So that's one to look at. I'll be monitoring Blinkova Dolhide as Blinkova serves for the first set. Could be a long one there. And then I think Altmaier was the one that
our other bet though. I'm gonna ride with you on this, partner.
Okay.
Tomorrow we're gonna say yes to a Baptiste Rybakina breaker at some point.
Okay. All right. That's the play. Plus money. Let's do it. It's a big plus, I believe. So, all right. That's going to do it.
Talk to you tomorrow, partner.
I know. We're going to get some of these wrong, but we want to keep them going while we have it.
I like that one.
We do. Well, thanks to everybody for watching. Dustin, thanks for coming on the show. Always a blast. Thanks to everybody for being a part of this. Follow the socials app Because We Win. Download the Bet Rivers app to make sure you're making your bets on the very best app, the very best sports book to make bets on tennis. And we'll see what happens. Betting Weekly Tennis Live returns tomorrow and Wednesday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. We'll talk to you then. For Dustin Fox, I'm Mitch Michaels. This was Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the tennis. We'll talk to you soon.